Oh, yeah. Is it Thursday already? Wow. Finally, some Skeleton Crew news. It's been so long, but Skeleton Crew has finally come around and given us some new news. Not only is Steve Urkel in Star Wars, but we have new kinds of Jedi in Star Wars introduced in this show as well. We also have to talk about how Jedi 3 will be the end of Cal Kestis' gaming franchise, but that doesn't mean it's the end of Cal Kestis because he might be coming to live action very, very soon and could be getting his own show. But we'll talk about all of that. Let's dive into everything. How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? What's up, chat? How's everybody doing? We got a lot to get into today, and I mean a lot. Skeleton Crew, finally. We have less than 3 months until the release of this show on December 3rd. It premieres with 2 episodes on December 3rd on Disney+, and that's less than 3 months away, and we know almost nothing about this show. Now, we finally have some awesome news about Jude Law's character, how he is a new kind of Jedi. Also, we got some pirates and all that stuff, but we also have some news about Jedi 3, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, the sequel to Jedi the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, the sequel to Jedi Survivor, in the final installment of the Jedi franchise. We got a lot of news to get into and not a lot of time to do it. So let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Shall we? Starship 66, what is up? Kit Fisto, how we doing? Hal Runner Base in the house. K, what is up? Dead Mike, how we doing? Mando United, how we doing? Soul, what is up? Auntie K, how we doing? Fearless, what is up? Jedi Geek in the house. Brandon Baker, what's up? Darth Plagueis lives, how we doing? B-Man, what is up? Navarro, how we doing? Polly Paul, what is up? Officer Murdoch, how we doing? Brent, what is up? Shadow King, how we doing? You know the deal. If I missed you, just yell at me in the chat. Let's just give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so we got a lot to get into today. That's the understatement of the week so far. Skeleton Crew is finally giving us something to latch onto. The trailer that was released a few weeks ago was cool. It was fun. It got us a little bit more excited, but we still know so little about this show that it's hard to get excited. Now, it's also exciting that we know so little. That means they're keeping secrets, but we need some sort of information, and now we've gotten it. Now we've gotten a little bit to latch onto. That gets me excited. And the big key sentence in this whole giant news article we're going to read today is a new kind of Jedi. Let's dive into it, chat. First things first, tell me in the chat, how excited on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Skeleton Crew that releases on December 3rd? December 3rd. Okay, let me put up a poll in the chat. Let's see where we're at. Are you excited for Skeleton Crew? Yes or no? Let's see it. 10 out of 10? Oh my God. 10 out of 10. Not excited at all? 8 out of 10, 9.5, 6/7. 10, 10, 8. We're kind of all over the place. A lot higher than I thought it was going to be, but that's pretty good. 8 out of 10. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, let's just give a little TLDR on what the hell this Skeleton Crew show even is. It does take place in the Mandoverse time period. It will be with The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett in that time period after the original trilogy. It's following these 4 teenage kids. I don't know why I put that in quotations. They are teenage kids. 4 teenage kids. It is not a kid's show. And Jude Law will be another main character who wields the Force, but he is a new kind of Jedi. And it's not for kids. Well, I mean, kids can probably watch it, but it's not made for little kids. Okay? Okay. All right, let's read this article. This is an exclusive coming from Entertainment Weekly magazine. Do magazines even exist anymore, chat? Can somebody please answer me that? Can someone please answer me that? Okay. Entertainment Weekly has this exclusive. It comes with new photos of some of the cast. Gives us Steve Urkel in Star Wars. We'll get to that. And it gives us some information about characters because there's exclusive interviews in this article as well. So without further ado, let's read this thing, shall we? Oh, that's going to make a mess. Hang on. Okay. Well, let's read this exclusive from Entertainment Weekly. Boom. There we go. Star Wars Skeleton Crew exclusive photos reveal Jaleel White as a space pirate, and Jaleel White is most known as Steve Urkel, but we'll get to that in a second. Also, creators John Watts and Christopher Ford explain why they are playing with a part of the galaxy that has a resurgence of piracy. Arg! There be pirates. What a start to an article, I must say. And we've got proof, and we've got photos to prove it. Star Wars Skeleton Crew will tell the tale of 4 children who discover a secret, and then they get into a series of adventures as they attempt to find their way back to their home planet. And it seems their journey will pit them against some fearsome foes, namely pirates. So the gist of the show is these 4 kids find a ship on their safe home planet and get blasted off into the unknown galaxy, where they'll come against foes and friends, but mostly foes, like pirates. Entertainment Weekly has the exclusive first look at these space pirates below, as well as another exclusive image of Jude Law's Jod Na Nawood. That is his character's name, Jod Na Nawood. In the show's 4 pint-sized heroes? Oh, pint. Jeez. Whew. This is going to be a long one. And also spoke to Skeleton Crew creators John Watts and Christopher Ford about the potential hive of scum and villainy. So Christopher Ford and John Watts both created Spider-Man Homecoming. John Watts is the director of Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the Tom Holland trilogy over at the MCU. So yeah, the guy's pretty damn good at his job. Yeah. So this is our first image, and let's make this bigger, shall we? This is our first image here, and this right here is Steve Urkel in Star Wars. This is Jaleel White, most known for his role as Steve Urkel, and here he is in Star Wars. Now you might see to his left, or to our left, his right, a very familiar face, as this is Vane. Do we guys does chat know where Vane is from? Reptile King, what's up? Where have we seen Vane before, chat? That went better than I did. Did I do that? Exactly. That's going to be his first line, hopefully. Hopefully. Yes, The Mandalorian, Season 3. Vane was one of the pirates who fought against Din Djarin and Grogu in the Battle above Navarro, or the Battle of Navarro, I guess. And he's one of the only pirates to have escaped. If you remember, all the pirates pretty much died to the Mandalorians, who are coming together now. Bo-Katan's Mandalorians and Din Djarin's Mandalorians to save Navarro. And Vane is the only pirate who escapes. He kind of just ditches everybody else and leaves. Vane will be appearing in Skeleton Crew. So far, he is the only familiar face that we know of that will be in Skeleton Crew. Now, it's likely there will be a lot more familiar faces, possibly a Cal Kestis, possibly an Omega. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we know for a fact that Vane will be in the show. That's a fact. So yes, somebody just mentioned it in the chat, Werewolves in Space 2, Fearless, yes. So over here to the right, we got what looks to be a werewolf in space. This character's name is Brutus, and he is going to be another pirate. We just got a bunch of pirates here. Let's scroll over. Here you got another one, three-eyed guy with an eye patch over one of his eyes. Pirate. All a bunch of pirates. So these kids are going to be in a lot of trouble with these pirates, And take note of this right here. This little belt with blasters on. Take note of that because it'll become important in just a little bit, okay? Okay, let's go back to this article, shall we? Those are pirates, confirms Christopher Ford of the photo subject above, space pirates. And not just any space pirates, but that is none other than Urkel himself, Jaleel White, looking vaguely cyborg-esque as Gunter. Gunter? Sure. His character's name is Gunter. To the left of Gunter is the pesky character Star Wars fans may recognize, the unsavory Vane, played by Marty Matulius, Vane, who gave Din Djarin and Grief Karga such a hard time in The Mandalorian Season 3. Rounding out this not-so-merry band of pirates, to the right of Gunter is Brutus, voiced by Fred, and played by performance artist Stephen Young, sure. Paxed, who is, again, the one over here with the three eyes. Performance artist Mike. Why can't people just have normal names, okay? Okay? Jeez. Okay. With Skeleton Crew taking place in the same time frame as shows like The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, after the fall of the second Death Star and before the rise of the First Order, that means that there is a lack of what one might call Imperial enforcement. Naturally, that allows nefarious forces to thrive. With the era we are in, we are kind of getting to play with that lawless thing, says Christopher Ford. The Empire is gone, and so we are playing with a part of the galaxy that has a resurgence of piracy. So during the time of the original trilogy, the Empire is at its peak. During the time of the sequel trilogy, the First Order is at its peak, and we are in the middle, where there is no Empire. There's remnants of the Empire that we see in The Mandalorian, but there's really no Empire to control the entire galaxy, so now the underworld, the pirates, all those people are rising back into power. And that's what we're going to see in this Skeleton Crew show, because we got some pirates in Mando Season 3. We've seen some mention of pirates in previous seasons of The Mandalorian. Pirates are the ones who, in Mando Season 1, are owning Grogu or have captured Grogu. Is Grogu really captive? Sure. Have captured Grogu in the first episode of The Mandalorian Season 1, but we really don't get to see these pirates in action much in Star Wars. And Skeleton Crew is going to be sort of the first time we get to see that. So, pirates played a role in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, as folks like Gorian Shard and Vane created chaos on Navarro. And now it appears we will meet more unsuperfluous characters of the same ilk. Sure. Pirates are talked about so much in Star Wars, Christopher Ford noted. People would call Han Solo a pirate, and he'd be like, how dare you? And we've seen some awesome pirates in the animated shows. Fan favorite, Hondo Ohnaka. So this is something where both executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were really excited to do more pirate stuff. Pause. Did someone say Hondo Ohnaka? So there's all this talk of pirates being the main focus or the main foe, main bad guys, if you will, of this Skeleton Crew show. A very big focus is pirates. Now there's one pirate you think of when you think of pirates in Star Wars, and that is Hondo Ohnaka. If you've watched the Clone Wars, if you've watched Star Wars Rebels, you know the name Hondo. So there's really, at this point, no doubt in my mind that Skeleton Crew will be the first live-action appearance of Hondo Ohnaka. Not only in a DLC coming next year will Hondo be in Star Wars Outlaws, confirming that he is still alive during the time of the original trilogy, but this is pirates. This is the exact place we would think to see Hondo Ohnaka in live action in this time of the Mandoverse would be with pirates. It's possible that this image we're looking at here is Hondo's new crew, so to speak. Not only Vane, a familiar face from The Mandalorian season 3, but rounding off his crew with Steve Urkel himself and a frickin' werewolf. This could be the perfect opportunity to bring Hondo Ohnaka to come into live action. So tell me, chat, do you want to see Hondo Ohnaka in Skeleton Crew? I understand not having the time or the ability to introduce him in The Mandalorian, or introduce him in the Book of Boba Fett, or introduce him in Ahsoka even, because it wouldn't really feel right. But this is a show about pirates. They even talk about in this interview, like we just said, Christopher Ford himself just said, shit, where was it? Oh, right here. He just said, and we've seen some awesome pirates in animated shows, talking about no one else except for Hondo. It seems like a no-brainer. And of course, Dave Filoni being the one who helped create Hondo Ohnaka, the character of Hondo, it would make perfect sense for this to be his first live-action appearance. Okay, let's keep going. Because this isn't even the best part. We're not even scratching the surface yet of what this news really means. Exploring the edge of the wild space is something that co-writer Christopher Ford was talking there, yeah. John Watts was excited to do, not just due to his love of Star Wars, but also because of his love for a certain LucasArts video game series that dates all the way back to 1990. He says, I'm also a big fan of Monkey Island. Give me a 1 into the chat if you've ever heard or played Monkey Island. Let's see it, chat. Let me actually pull it up here. Monkey Island. So Monkey Island was a video game released, I believe, in 1990 exactly. And it looked something like this. I've never played it, but I did do my research. And it looks something like this. Let's zoom in on that a little bit. Very pixelated, obviously it's 1990. But it's sort of like a... it's sort of like a Minecraft of its day. No, it's sort of like just a adventure type of story in a very old video game format. So it's very animated. It's very choose a certain thing, like all that stuff, like survive on this island type of deal. But yes, not many people have heard of or played this game. It's a cult classic, really. I've never even heard of it until yesterday. So Monkey Island was one of John Watts's favorite games and an inspiration for creating this world with Skeleton Crew. So he says, I'm also a big fan of Monkey Island. That's also classic George Lucas. So somewhere between Star Wars Pirates and Monkey Island Pirates is where we found our sweet spot. And then this is our second image. Let's go full screen on this one. This is our second image. We're actually going to have to zoom out. And this is the thumbnail of today's video. That is our first look at, not first, but another great look at John Watts' character, Jude Law. And of course, the 4 main cast behind him. Starting from left to right, we have the cyborg-looking lady, whose name is KN. Then we have our boy here, whose name is... what the hell's his name? Oh, Wim. And then we got Fern and our boy, Neil. Neil might be the GOAT. He is the same species as Max Rebo and Ortolan. And he might end up becoming the greatest of all time. But, like I told you to remember earlier, chat, that these weapons right here on the holster look familiar. I think what's going on here is Jude Law might not be what we expect him to be. Some fans believe he's going to be this Jedi hero in this Skeleton Crew show. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think he actually might be a pirate himself. A pirate that can't be trusted, and maybe, just maybe, somebody who helps the kids reluctantly for his own good. I'm not too sure if Jude Law is going to be playing a hero in this show. I think he might just be doing it for his own sort of good, to help himself, because as we can tell in the trailer, which we'll watch in a second, he's going to be imprisoned with the kids, and maybe he's going to help them get out for his own good, but also to help these kids as well. I don't think he's going to be the hero that we think he's going to be. He's definitely not going to just be a normal Jedi that we know, like Anakin or Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars. He's definitely going to have a more darker side to him. And it's actually described to be a new kind of Jedi. But let's get to that. A pirate Jedi. Okay, let's read this. Why is it zoomed out? Zoom back in. Finding the sweet spot with something was something Watts and Ford were looking to do for the series as a whole, as they created an entirely new world within an already pre-existing one in Star Wars, a world with certain rules that can't be broken. What's great about working with Lucasfilm is that they'll let you know if you're going outside of the boundaries, Watts said. Dave Filoni is our goalkeeper. So a lot of questions have been raised over the last couple months of what is Dave Filoni's true job. He got the promotion of Chief Creative Officer about late last year, and what does that entail? How is he actually going to be in charge of all these different projects when he's just one guy? He doesn't have that much time in his day. So he's kind of, like John Watts says here, the goalkeeper. He's the guy who's going to be making sure that nothing sort of breaks canon or alters something in the main story that he's trying to tell in the Mandoverse too drastically. So he is that goalkeeper, as John Watts says here. And what Watts means that literally, Watts means that literally of the creative visionaries overseeing the Star Wars streaming galaxy. He's actually is a great hockey player. There you go. But he's also a figurative goalie as well. I did not know that Dave Filoni's a hockey player. The more you know. We will come up with ideas of things that we like, and then he'll be like, actually, maybe it's this. Or, oh, we've already did something like that, and there's something else that we could do. And we always end up with a bunch of other episodes of Star Wars to go watch and things to go read, and it's good. You feel like you can safely explore things creatively without making a huge canonical mistake. So, of course, breaking the canon is a big, big issue. But Dave Filoni, being a guy who worked on all the Clone Wars and Rebels, he knows so much about Star Wars and growing up on the Legends Star Wars content, or the EU of Star Wars content. He knows pretty much all there is to know when it comes to Star Wars canon and how not to break it. And he is that guy. He's the goalkeeper, as John Watts puts it, who knows all. So John Watts isn't claiming to know all about Star Wars here, and he actually admits that he has to go watch some old episodes or go read something else so that he learns from the mistakes. So he also adds this. We're getting both sides of that because he did that mentoring under George Lucas. So he's getting that thing of, I want to make a whole new kind of Jedi. And then someone is like, okay, hold on. A lot of people have thought of this. Let's do this the right way. And it's so hopeful. Even when it comes to pirates, Star Wars Skeleton Crew will come on December 3rd on Disney Plus, which is a Tuesday, which is great. That means it's not 3 a.m. watch parties. But let's go to this last piece, shall we? So when he comes to Dave Filoni and says, I want to make a whole new kind of Jedi, his response is, okay, hold on. A lot of people have thought about this. Let's do this the right way. So our character here of Jod Nawood is going to be a Jedi. He will be a Force user. But is he our sort of normal Jedi? Is he going to be one who survived Order 66? Is he going to be more of a Baylan Skoll type of Jedi? Is he going to be more of a Ezra Bridger, a Boken Jedi, so to speak? Or is he going to be something else? A new kind of Jedi makes me so unbelievably excited for this show. You have no idea. Something new in Star Wars is always a great idea. Obviously, you don't want to tell the same story over and over and over again. So these kids going off on this adventure, happening to run into our boy Jod Nawood, it's possible that he's not going to be a very friendly face. Now, let's rewatch the trailer now with the with the knowledge we now have learned about our character of Jod Nawood and just the story in general of pirates and all. Let's rewatch this trailer at least one time through, and let's talk about it, shall we?
Tomorrow's test will set the course of your entire future.
Don't you ever want to do anything exciting? Like what? What if we
Neil.
could go anywhere we want in the whole galaxy? A real adventure. No more pretend. I found something buried in the woods. What do you think it is?
I think it's a lost Jedi temple.
Be careful where you step. We're lost. Really lost.
Tis dangerous out there in space. Trust no one.
You're a Jedi.
Possibly. Okay, so there's a few things going on in this trailer that are pretty cool now that we know a little bit more about this show. First things first is they're meeting Jude Law's character of Jod in prison. They've been captured by pirates or whomever, and they've been put in this prison cell, and Jod is using the Force to grab the key. So they meet this hero, this Jedi, in prison. How did he end up there? First of all, how the kids ended up there is probably an easy thing to come up with. They're either captured by pirates or somebody who wants to make some money off of them. I don't know, just whatever it may be. But it's more a question of how did Jod get there? Because if he truly is a pirate, as he looks to be a pirate, how did he end up in prison? And how is him saving these kids and bringing them back to their home planet going to help him? Because I don't think this guy's going to be a very helpful type of person, you know? I think it's more likely that Jod is going to be this new kind of Jedi that's not really a helpful one. It's been, by the time of this Skeleton Crew show, it's been over 30 some odd years since Order 66. So even if Jod is a Jedi who survived Order 66, it is likely that he's not the same as he would have been 30 years ago. He's sort of probably lost his way in this crazy galaxy where at one point he probably had to fight for his life against the Empire, and now he's living a life as a pirate or pirate adjacent in the unknown I guess not unknown regions, on the outer rim at least of Star Wars. So he's been trying to survive for 30 years. I'm sure that Jedi way has been lost a long time ago. Very similar to a Balin Skull. Now, this show takes place right in the same time period as Ahsoka, which is very cool because we just got introduced to a character named Balin Skull in Ahsoka. And Balin was a Jedi who survived Order 66. He talks about knowing Anakin and how Anakin and him talked about Ahsoka. But he's clearly lost his way, or at least he's gone down a different path, so to speak. So it's likely, because Balin Skull is a new type of Jedi, that we could see another new type of Jedi in Jod. So many fans complain about how many Jedi actually survived Order 66, and it's a valid complaint. It's supposed to be the extinction of all the Jedi except for Obi-Wan and Yoda. Slowly over time, we learned that no, it's not just Yoda and Obi-Wan, it's an insane amount of Jedi who all survived and for the next coming years get hunted down by Inquisitors and Vader. even some of those still survive. Ahsoka Tano, Cal Kestis, Jude Law, Baylan Skoll, like all these characters are still alive in the Mandoverse after the original trilogy, after the Empire has even fallen. So the way you get around that is by making these characters sort of go on their own journeys. Because after the Jedi Order is gone, that's the only thing that a youngling who grew up on the Jedi Order would know, is the Jedi Order and Coruscant. So how those younglings are affected by the galaxy without the Jedi Order is going to be different for each individual character. So seeing Baylan Skoll go off one way, seeing Ahsoka go off another way, seeing Jude go off another way is what's supposed to happen. And we don't even know about Cal Kestis, but Cal Kestis is most likely to come into live action at some time soon. We'll talk about Cal Kestis in a minute. We got some crazy news about that as well. But this is what should be happening. We should be getting introduced to new Force users that are different than what Jedi and Sith are described to be. And that's very cool. And that's what Jude's character is going to be. Also in this trailer, we see a shit ton of these familiar faces now of pirates. So most of this early stuff of them on their home planet here, like this is all going to be in the first episode. Maybe first 2 episodes, but most likely just the first episode as they find this ship in the woods and get blasted into the unknown. So that's all going to pretty much happen in the first episode, if not first 2 episodes. So most of this trailer is just going to be revealed in the premiere. And that's normal for a Star Wars show.
Really lost.
You got some
It's
Jawas.
dangerous out
You got some Jawas.
here in space. Trust no one.
There's our boy Brutus, the werewolf type looking guy. I don't know what he's standing in front of though. It almost looks like the time travel thing from Endgame, but I'm guessing it's not. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not. I don't know, something that's just, I don't think it is, you know? They're clearly going up against some foes here. I actually think this could be the spider looking thing from the Bad Batch season 2, but there's an astromech right there. And then X-Wings. X-Wings mean the New Republic. So the only familiar face we know that's going to be in this show 100% is Vane. But there's going to be a lot more familiar faces. We just talked about Hondo Ohnaka, the possibility of that. With the New Republic X-Wings here, that could mean Carson Teva. That could mean Zeb Orrelios. That could even mean The Mandalorian, as he is now working with the New Republic at the end of Mando Season 3. So there's so many familiar faces that could be seen in the Skeleton Crew show, and X-Wings in the trailer mean New Republic. I wonder how this interaction is going to go down. Because if this happens in the first couple episodes, that means these kids are going to be saved by the New Republic very early on? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hopefully it's Carson Teva, because Carson Teva has kind of been the through line through all of this. As he was in Ahsoka, he's been in The Mandalorian, of course. He's been that sort of connection to all these shows. It would be cool to see him in this one, too. That would be pretty dang cool, if I do say so myself. But hang on. Did I see a member? Hang on. Hang on! Oh, Thomas! Welcome to the people who love Star Wars! Welcome to the people who love Star Wars, Thomas, or welcome back, I should say, to the people who love Star Wars at the Padawan level. I appreciate it. I appreciate it quite a bit. And I missed a super chat, too. What the hell? Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $2 holla. God damn. Says hello there. Oh, hello there's. What's up, Darth Plagueis? How we doing? Super chats, memberships, of course, help keep the lights on over here. And actually, we're coming close to the end of the month. So next week, I think, or maybe 2 weeks. At some point over the next 2 weeks, we will be having a giveaway. And yeah, if you remember, you have instant access to that giveaway. And of course, it will be the biggest giveaway in channel history. So you might not want to miss that. And becoming a member is only 99 cents at the lowest tier. So watch out for that too. Watch out for that too. Okay. Let's scroll up a little bit here and let's talk some Skeleton Crew, shall we, chat? Shall we? With a new kind of Jedi being introduced with Jude Law. What do you think that means? Does this mean new Force abilities? Does this mean he's going to be wielding a lightsaber or not? And will we actually get to see Steve Urkel say, "Did I do that?" in Star Wars? I appreciate it, guys. Yes, we did just hit 87,000 subscribers, so I appreciate the celebration in the chat. It's very, very nice of you. Yeah, so Hondo in live action would be awesome. Yes, it would. Only recently found out that Hondo's voice actor was a voice actor for Winnie the Pooh and the Tasmanian Devil from Looney Tunes. I did not know that either. That's pretty awesome. That is pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. Hondo is going to be the best Christmas present. Thanks to these Star Wars kids. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I mean, if Hondo is really in live action in this show, it would be awesome. I mean, come on. He's probably... he is the best pirate in Star Wars. People have been waiting for him in live action for quite some time. Hondo the Pooh, oh my god. Yeah. That's actually pretty interesting. I get like Hondo Naka in the Tasmanian Devil having the same voice. I mean, that makes kind of sense in my head. But Winnie the Pooh thrown in there is kind of like the opposite of all those. So I'd love to see Hondo. Me too. Hondo is around at the time of the sequel trilogy. Is he? How do we know that? What is he in around the sequel trilogy? What do we think? I don't think he'll be in that crew, but maybe he'll be a rivaling gang. That's possible. Think about the last time we saw Hondo, though. He wasn't really doing great. In Rebels, he's not like the leader of a crew. He's kind of just doing his own thing and screwing over people, mostly Ezra Bridger. But he's not really a part of a crew. So unless things have changed, which they could because it's been like 10, 12-ish years since then, he was kind of just doing his own thing before. So maybe he's not the leader of this crew, but maybe he's also involved in the pirates some way, somehow. Could be. Could be. Dead Mike says, this looks kind of lame, no offense. I'm none taken. I didn't create it. Harrison says, Hondo and Maz gotta be the two most likely cameos, surely with the pirate theme. Yeah. Maz Kanata I actually didn't think of. Yeah, because Maz Kanata, interesting. Maz Kanata's been around for 1,000 years. She's one of the oldest characters in Star Wars history. So she's been alive for 1,000 years by the time of The Force Awakens. She's been through quite a bit. Now, obviously, we haven't seen her in anything else, from the Clone Wars, the prequels, to the originals, to anywhere else, except for the sequel trilogy. So seeing her in Skeleton Crew would actually be a very pleasant surprise, which would be pretty cool. That'd be awesome. Maybe we could even learn how she got her hands on Luke's lights. Wait. What are the chances that this whole Skeleton Crew show is just to answer the question, how did Maz Kanata get Luke Skywalker's lightsaber? Okay, obviously it's not going to be. It's going to be this fun story of these kids. But what if it's really just to mask the real title of this show, and that is how Maz Kanata got Luke Skywalker's lightsaber in The Force Awakens? It's not a horrible idea. Give us a cool adventure with Jude Law in Star Wars, with Neil, who looks like Max Rebo. But really, you're just going to tell us the story of how Maz Kanata got Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. I'd be down for it. Yeah. Kit Fisto says, I want Hondo in live action. He needs to have the accent, though. Oh, absolutely. If they do Hondo in live action, they won't get it wrong. We'll put it that way. With Dave Filoni at the helm, especially, with him being the goalkeeper, as John Watts puts it, they won't get it wrong. Hondo will look great. He'll sound great. It'll be like Cad Bane coming into live action in The Mandalorian. Yeah. Yeah. The 1990s graphics gives me flashbacks. You know what's really funny? Is these graphics from 1990? I mean, 1990s, what, 34 years ago? That's not that long ago. It's really not. And when you think about it, what's technology, like video games and movies, CGI, I should say, look so realistic now. What's it going to look like in 10 years from now? 34 years from now? How does it get more realistic? That's my question. In 34 years, will stuff that comes out now look like this? That's my question. Okay. Jude looks cool in that fit. He does look awesome. I mean, I'm excited to see what his character's all about because he just looks awesome. He's almost a combination of like a Han Solo meets a Jedi pirate? I don't even know. He's got the weird trench coat looking thing, which we haven't really seen much in Star Wars. He's got the very Han Solo-esque shirt, the very deep V-cut. I mean, very deep V-cut. Yeah. And he's got, interestingly, gloves on. Maybe he's got 2 robotic hands. Probably not, just some gloves on. But he's also got this blaster looks awesome. It looks straight out of, like, Civil War or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. He just looks cool. He looks badass. He looks like he's going to go kill some people. And there's the question of what is he looking at, because he looks kind of scared here. And the kids are obviously on the ships looking at it too. I don't know. Even with this information of Jude being this new kind of Jedi and all these cool sort of pirates and stuff, the foes of this show being pirates, there's still so many unanswered questions and just not a lot of plot going on here that we know of for this Skeleton Crew show, that we're still going in with very little knowledge. Very little knowledge. Now, it's still 2.5 whatever months away, so we still have time to get more trailers, get more information, get more articles like this that will give us more and more information piece by piece. But right now, we know so little about this show. And actually, looking at this trailer that released a month ago, it has 4.5 million views. Now, that's a lot in terms of view numbers, but in terms of a Star Wars trailer, it's not. You look at, let's see. Let's take a look. So 4.5 million views. The Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy one got 1.3, which is a lot less, but it's a Lego Star Wars show. Let's go take a look at the Acolyte, the first Acolyte trailer. Well, this one, yeah, the official trailer, got 7.6. That's double. Almost. No, it's not. It's close to double, though. It's a lot more. We'll put it that way. Let's go see something else. Tales of the Empire, which is an animated show, and usually the live-action shows do a lot better than the animated ones, has almost 4 million views, almost the same amount of views as the Skeleton Crew trailer. So I only say this to say, and oh my God, the Acolyte's first one got 11 million views. That's crazy. I want to see the first Ahsoka one. Where's the Ahsoka one? Ahsoka official trailer, 9.6, but I don't think that's the first one. 1.5. Maybe it was the first one. Oh, nope. 16 million right there. 16 million. So that's not even it's 4 times the amount of views that Skeleton Crew got. So all this to say, fans don't know what to expect when it comes to the Skeleton Crew show. We don't know what we're waiting for. We got 2.5 months to wait for this show, but we don't know what to expect. So the hype level in this fandom with the normies and the hardcore fans alike, we just don't know what we're waiting for. So the hype level for this show seems to be on the lower end. Yes, a lot of us probably are pretty excited because we love to dissect this stuff. We just love to get excited for Star Wars. But the normie fan, they're not excited. They don't even know what the show is. Skeleton Crew, what the hell does that mean? They don't know when it takes place. They don't know what it's about. They don't know anything. So there needs to be another trailer, which I'm sure there will be. But there needs to be more of an explanation about when this show takes place, what it's about, how it affects everything else. That needs to be explained. I don't know if directly explained is something that needs to happen, but it definitely needs to be explained nonetheless. They need to come up with a trailer that's like in the time period of The Mandalorian, after the original trilogy, The Skeleton Crew. Come watch this or else you'll die. Now, something like that. Something like that, but not that, you know? Yeah. So, Lucasfilm, if you're watching, and we know that you are, we need something. I just know for a fact that they're going to drop a trailer probably in like a month or so with just somebody crazy. Whether it's Hondo or Cal Kestis or Omega. It's going to be like, it's just like something that blows the doors off and it just destroys the internet because everybody's going to be like so hyped up for this show because they revealed something early. Now, they could go the route of not revealing anything and just going in completely blind, which I don't know if that's the best option here. You tell me in the chat, would you rather come into Skeleton Crew completely blind, in the premiere probably do some pretty bad numbers for a live-action Star Wars show, or about a few weeks before Skeleton Crew drops, would you like them to drop a trailer that reveals something huge? Whether that's a character's appearance or how it affects something else or whatever it may be. Something huge gets revealed that's going to be in the show, a character or whatever, a few weeks before the show airs so that they get the hype level up so that the show does well premiere-wise and numbers-wise. Which would you rather, going in completely blind or coming in with some high expectations? Completely blind. Interesting. Completely blind. I don't know. For this show in particular, I think I would rather have some sort of big reveal. I think it's most. I just want Star Wars to succeed always and forever. But when it comes to this show in particular, I don't think the first episode is going to have a reveal of Grogu like The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian comes in completely blind. Mando season 1, episode 1, you come in completely blind. Cast your mind back to 2019. Disney Plus just dropped, and it drops with The Mandalorian season 1, episode 1. That entire episode, you're getting hyped up. This Mandalorian character, he's cool. This whole world is cool. It's post-original trilogy. It's awesome. The end of the episode, he finds the bounty he's looking for, the 50-year-old bounty, and it's a baby version of Yoda, Grogu. And it breaks the internet. And now Grogu is a main character for the rest of the season. But all the advertisements, all the trailers before Mando season 1 didn't involve Grogu at all. And he's a main character throughout the entire first season. I don't think Skeleton Crew is going to have a very similar thing going on here. I don't think there's going to be a baby Grogu that draws a crowd like that. So I think they need to do the work early. They don't have the advantage of going in blind like The Mandalorian did, taking that risk. Because I don't think this is time to take a risk, especially not coming off the backs of The Acolyte, which a lot of fans have very strong opinions one way or the other. I think you need a win, and you need to set yourself up for a win. So that means trailers that reveal some stuff, that get fans excited for what's to come. But you tell me in the chat. Tell me, chat, what do we think? When Neil says, like what, my heart melts so much. Oh, my. Yeah. Yeah. Season 3 jumps ahead in the future for The Mandalorian. I'm sure there's a jump, but I don't think it's too much. He's in prison by the hands of folks who jail kids. I mean, yeah, because they're both put in jail. But are they the pirates? Like, I got a feeling that Jude has been put into prison by most likely these guys right here. I wonder if he's working with the pirates. I mean, you look at the gun holstered right there. He seems to have a very similar gun holstered right there. Does that make him a pirate? I don't know. But he's not the Jedi we think he is. He's not the Jedi we're looking for. That's for damn sure. So, yeah. John says, I'm going in without any preconceived notions. To do so would be setting yourself up for disappointment. I disagree with that. I understand what you're saying. I understand the sentiment of going in with nothing, without expecting something, without expecting the greatest show ever, without expecting the worst show ever. I understand that. But I like to get hyped up, okay? So if I get hyped up and I'm disappointed, that's just how I feel, okay? I'd rather get hyped up and have my hype level met by how awesome the show is than not get hyped up at all. You know? You know? Anyone else think that one of these kids is Force sensitive? It's a possibility. It definitely is a possibility. If I were to guess, I would say Wim right now, because Wim is seemingly the main character when you look at it from the trailer aspect. He's the one with the most lines in the trailer. He's the one who drags his friends out to the woods to go check out this ship. He's the one who's looking forward or looking at the tablet of Jedi and looking forward to a life outside of his home planet. He's sort of the adventurous type. But I don't know if he's going to be Force sensitive. I don't know. He could be. He definitely could be. I don't know. What do we think, chat? Any of these kids going to be Force sensitive? What do we think? I think Jod is either a rogue Jedi, a gray Jedi, or a dark Jedi, or even a Sith. I don't think he's a Sith, because he is going to be helping these kids. We know that for a fact. He's going to help them. Whether that's for his own good or not, that remains to be seen, but we know he's going to help them. I don't think a Sith Lord is going to be helping out these kids. I don't know if he's a gray Jedi. I don't know if he's a rogue Jedi, a pirate Jedi, or anything like that. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Don't worry about it, Thomas. Harrison says, could see him with like a Star-Lord type of backstory. He was kidnapped and raised by pirates who got to him before they could have taken him to the Order as a child. That's pretty interesting. So he never was at the Jedi Temple. He was just captured by some pirates as a kid. Well, let's look this up. How old is Jude Law? How old is Jude Law? So just going based off of the actor's age, which is 51, he would be about 51 by the time Jod Nawood would be about 51 by the time of this Skeleton Crew show, which would mean by the time of Order 66, his character would be about 20, something like that. I think that would be too old for him to kind of be. He could be captured by pirates like right after Order 66 and then somehow works his way into just becoming one of them. That's a possibility. But I do kind of like the Star-Lord type of thing where he gets captured by pirates at a very young age. It might be too on the nose for Star-Lord. It would be like the same exact story. Plus, he wouldn't be that strong with the Force. I mean, maybe he could train himself, but you know. By the time of Ahsoka is 48 years old to timeline references. Is she only 48? That's crazy. That's crazy. Scroll up in the chat and read my entire plot outline for Acolyte Season 2 and 3. What? An entire plot outline? I don't see it. It might have disappeared. I might have been too slow. John says, well, it makes sense since the Jedi Order is gone, and while Luke is working hard to bring it back, it won't be the same. The Sith are gone, pretty much, with Palpatine trying to clone himself. It does make sense that the Jedi or the surviving Jedi would be different than the Jedi we know before, obviously. It's been 30 years since Order 66, so clearly Jod Nawood has been through quite a bit. I don't know if he's going to be a good guy or not. That's my thing, you know? Oh, I can be hyped, and I am, just without expectations. I learned that from The Last Jedi. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I get you. Hodja says they really could do a cool Kid Snatcher's dark side story with the First Order. Snoke being a grit and Palpatine being chief. I don't know what that means. I wonder if the First Order is going to be played into any of this. I think it's still a little bit too early, but at some point, Palpatine, Snoke, all that has to come into play. The First Order has to begin to grow. So I wonder if that'll begin in this show or it's some show soon. Maybe Ahsoka Season 2. It's possible. Fearless says, I'd rather have all new stories like Skeleton Crew and Acolyte than a Luke story. I agree with that, but I kind of don't. Like, I want both. Why not both? Why can't we just have the best of both worlds? Luke Skywalker's story with his Jedi Temple deserves to be told. I want to see that. Yes, I want new stories. The Acolyte was great. I think Skeleton Crew hopefully will be really, really good. So why can't we have both, you know? Neil feels. Indeed. No, not Force sensitive. If one was to be Force sensitive, I feel like it would be Wim is the obvious choice. Yeah, he seems to be the obvious choice. Yeah. Annie K says he could be Outer Rim captured where the Jedi weren't looking for younglings as much. That's a possibility. Yeah, he could just be a Force user who never went through Jedi training, but he would be old enough to be somebody who survived Order 66, which I think is the route they'll go down, but I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's switch gears a little bit because these two pieces of news are very well connected. And let's talk about Jedi 3. Cal Kestis' Jedi series coming to an end and what that means for Cal Kestis' future and possibly coming in to live action, maybe even in Skeleton Crew. Let's talk about it, shall we? So, this news comes from EA, who had their Investors Day meeting 2 days ago? 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And they talked about all the projects that they currently have in the works. And their CEO or president of whatever, she announced something, or she gave an announcement about Jedi 3 that kind of has fans going a little crazy. So let's talk about this, shall we? Respawn working on the final, oh, well, you guys can't see that, can you? The final chapter of Star Wars Jedi video games. It seems like the next Star Wars Jedi video game will be the final one in the franchise, capping off the trilogy of games starring Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. This is coming from Games Radar. Publisher EA spoke about Respawn's plans at the recent Investors Day presentation. They also announced that over 40 million people have played both Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Even more will be able to play Jedi Survivor now that it is released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox One. So if you guys didn't know this, if you haven't been able to play Jedi Survivor because it's only been on new consoles, it is now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the older generation of consoles, so you can now play Jedi Survivor. But this is crazy. Over 40 million people have played this game, and it has made over $5 billion. That's crazy. When you think about that, these games have made more money than the entire sequel trilogy. Think about that. More money than the entire sequel trilogy. The video game world is a very big one. It's bigger than the movie industry. It's bigger than the TV industry. It's probably the biggest industry out there when it comes to media form. And Star Wars being able to tap into that with these incredible games is awesome. It not only allows for there to be more incredible Star Wars games in the future, hopefully some multiplayer ones too, maybe Battlefront 3, but it shows that Star Wars still has that pull, not only just over movies and shows, but over video games as well. Because Star Wars video games have always been a staple of the franchise for years. Years. Going all the way back to the 90s, and actually even the 80s, even, I believe. Late 80s. So, Laura Millet, sure. Laura, president of entertainment and technology at EA, broke the news saying over 40 million Star Wars fans have connected with Cal Kestis and his arc to become a powerful Jedi. Respawn is working hard to bring the final chapter of this thrilling story to players. So right now, currently in development, is Jedi 3, and Respawn is working on it right now. Not only that, it's the final chapter. This is the end. This is the end of this trilogy, which makes sense because it's a trilogy. But it's the end of the story, like we all kind of anticipated. We have delivered some of the highest quality and best-selling Star Wars games of all time, with over $5 billion in net bookings. This impressive track record includes, of course, the Star Wars Jedi games. So, Games Radar does note that Melee didn't specifically mention that the franchise would be ending with the third game, but it's highly unlikely that they are already working on a fourth installment, that we can probably assume that they will finish that this one will finish up the trilogy. So, it does say final chapter, and she didn't specifically say the third game, but they're working on the third game. Of course, we already knew that Respawn was hard at work on the next Jedi game. Cameron Monaghan, who plays Cal Kestis in the game, confirmed this as much as a year ago. So over a year ago, they've been working very hard on this game. Back then, he only said that there were conversations happening, likely about where the story will go. So presumably, at this time, the developers will be into the weeds of actually building the game now. There is plenty to do, with Respawn likely building a new engine to take the full advantage of modern consoles, and the director of the previous two games having left the studio. Considering all that, we are likely another 3 years away from seeing this game in the series, quite possibly even 4 years. It'll be a long wait, but hopefully we'll get a trailer in a couple of years. So let's talk about that. Jedi Fallen Order released in 2019. Jedi Survivor released in 2023. That's 4 years in between games. It's likely that we'll see another at least 4 years in between games. So if Jedi Survivor came out in 2023, then Jedi 3 is going to come out in 2027, if not 2028, because it's going to be on a newer console and they're going to have to do all this new stuff and whatever. It's going to be a long wait for this third installment of this Jedi game. But that doesn't mean we have to wait to see Cal Kestis. Cameron Monaghan is at the perfect age right now. I believe he's 31, where he could fit the perfect live-action Cal Kestis role in anything. He could show up in anything, from Skeleton Crew, like we just talked about for the last hour, to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, to Ahsoka. Like, he could show up in anything. But I actually think Cal Kestis could be getting his own live-action TV show before Jedi 3 even comes out. Now, here's why. First things before I explain why, let's put up a poll in the chat, shall we? By the way, 85% of you guys, 84% of the math is not mathing, but 84% of you guys are excited for Skeleton Crew. That's fantastic to hear. Hopefully that number just keeps getting higher. Do you want a Cal Kestis live action show? His own show. What do we think? Now here's the deal. He could show up in The Mandalorian. He could show up in Skeleton Crew. He could show up in Ahsoka Season 2. But he would be a lot older. Cal Kestis, during the time of his games, is about in his mid-20s, the latest game, I should say. He's very young when Order 66 happens. I believe, actually, somebody in the chat help me out. How old is he when Order 66 happens? I want to say 12, but I might be mistaken. But he is very young. He's a youngling, or I guess a Padawan. And meaning he can still, of course, be alive by the time of The Mandalorian. He'll probably be around the same age as Ahsoka, but a little bit younger. So in his early 40s, if I were to guess. Yeah. That means Cameron Monaghan, who's only 31, could be made older by makeup and CGI or whatever. It's not that hard to go from looking 30 to looking 40 on screen. He could show up in live action in those shows. What I think is the most likely possibility here, or the most likely option, or the best option here, is to take a fan favorite character of Cal Kestis, who fans have absolutely fallen in love with, spending over $5 billion to play as the character, taking that character and giving him his own show. And that own show would take place during the time of the original trilogy. So, the original trilogy, of course, is the main story of Star Wars. Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando versus Palpatine, Vader, all that fun stuff. It's A New Hope, it's Empire Strikes Back, it's Return of the Jedi. It's the greatest story ever told. But there are other things going on in the galaxy at that time. Think of characters like Ahsoka, Hera Syndulla, Sabine, the Mandalorians, Bo-Katan. Like, what are they doing during this time? What are other Jedi who survived Order 66 doing? Baylan Skoll, Shin Hati, Jod Na Nawud, Grogu. Like, where are all these characters during the time of the original trilogy? There's so many of them that aren't involved in that story. What if we got a Cal Kestis show during that time that would involve these characters? Last time we saw him during Survivor, he was on Tanalorr. He was helping the hidden path that we know and love so much, helping Jedis who survived Order 66 find safe passage away from the Empire. What if we got to see his story during the time of the original trilogy connected to all these other characters, ones that we don't see or do see in the original trilogy? It could go for multiple seasons because it takes years for the original trilogy to happen, and it could tell us an incredible story with already a beloved character at the forefront. It seems like, to me, a no-brainer. But tell me in the chat, what do we think? Do you want a Cal Kestis show? What do we think? By the way, this poll right away, 94% of you say, 93, okay. 93% of you say yes, you do want a Cal Kestis show. And this seems to me like a no-brainer. You have Cameron Monaghan. You have Cameron Monaghan, an incredible actor who fans love, with Cal Kestis who fans adore, and the opportunity to tell a story in the same time period as the original trilogy, explaining where all these characters, from Ahsoka to Grogu to the Rebels crew to all of them, where they exist, where they were during the time of the original trilogy. It sounds like a no-brainer, right? And now it is 94% on the poll. I was right. I was just seeing the future, you know, chat? Just seeing the future, per usual. Now, first of all, can I get some good cups while I order in the chat, please? Bum-ba! Now, there is a few issues with this. There are a few issues with this. One being Cal Kestis showing up in Skeleton Crew or Mando or Ahsoka Season 2. Because now you'd have two separate stories of Cal Kestis at two different times in the Star Wars timeline. If he was to show up in The Mandalorian, which comes out in 2026, or Ahsoka Season 2, which comes out in 2026, it's likely that his show won't come out until 2027. So you'd be seeing the same character of Cal Kestis appearing in two different parts in the timeline at the same time. Not only is that confusing for normie fans, it's confusing for hardcore fans as well. Seeing a younger version of Cal Kestis have his own show, while an older version of Cal Kestis already exists in the Mandoverse. It would also explain or confirm that he's not going to die in his own show because he is still alive years later in the Mandoverse. So kind of take the fun out of that. But here's the deal. There's always the possibility that Cal Kestis does not show up in live action for a long time. 2027 would be, if we were to get a Cal Kestis show, when we would see it. And like I just mentioned, Cal Kestis, Jedi 3, wouldn't come out until 2027. It wouldn't. So it's possible, it is very well possible, that we could get Jedi 3 in 2027, followed by a Cal Kestis show. also in 2027. Now, there's a big question going around in the Star Wars fandom, and that is, what is next? We have a lot of projects on the horizon, from Andor Season 2 to Skeleton Crew to Ahsoka Season 2 to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to the Rey movie to the Dawn of the Jedi movie to possibly an animated show that hasn't been announced yet. There's a lot. But what's after that? Right now, there's only 3 live-action shows set to release on Disney+. Skeleton Crew, Andor Season 2, and Ahsoka Season 2. After that, nothing. Nothing. The Acolyte has been canceled. Skeleton Crew is supposed to be a limited series. It's not technically right now supposed to be getting a second season. There's nothing. Imagine how crazy it would be if at Star Wars Celebration next year they announced a Cal freaking Kestis show. People would lose their minds. It would be an automatic win for Star Wars. And that's hard to find. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Guaranteed successes. That's what Disney has been focusing on for the last months now. They're focusing more on guaranteed successes. They've canceled shows. They've cut down budgets to focus on guaranteed successes. Toy Story 5s, Incredible 3s, The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. The Mandalorian's a guaranteed success because he already has success on Disney+. He's their biggest Disney Plus character. So they're bringing him to the big screen because it's a guaranteed success. A guaranteed success is Cal Kestis. And it's bringing him into a show, bringing him into his own show, and bringing him into live action. Because everybody loves Cal Kestis. Everybody loves Cameron Monaghan. And it's just a no-brainer. It's a guaranteed success. And 90% of you agree with me. Over 90% of you agree with me right now in the chat. Which is hard to find. 90% of people agreeing on something is extremely hard to find. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate the good cups follow orders in the chat. I really, really do. Dr. Necro says, considering his girlfriend is Knight Rider, he's better off showing up in something with the Thrawn timeline. Girlfriend is Knight Rider? What are you talking about? Oh, a Knight's sister, you mean? Oh, Knight's sister. Okay. That brings up another point. It's not just Cal Kestis here. We're talking about the Cal Kestis family with characters like Merrin, his girlfriend. Merrin is a Night Sister, just like Dr. Necro said in the chat. Night Sisters have become a very prevalent thing in the story of the Mandoverse. Thrawn just brought over a whole army of them to the Star Wars universe and is probably going to resurrect them and use them as his army. Who knows Night Sisters better than a Night Sister herself in Merrin? So it's likely that with this Mandoverse, hopefully trilogy, with The Mandalorian and Grogu being the first of them, and then Dave Filoni's movie being the second and hopefully a third, that trilogy wouldn't end till 2030. If you're going to do every other year, as they did with the sequel trilogy, it's going to be 2026, 2028, and 2030. So it wouldn't be until 2030 until we get the end of that Thrawn story, the end of the Heir to the Empire canon version of a trilogy. So yes, Cal and Merrin can play a big role in that, but it probably won't be until the later half of the trilogy, and it probably won't be till 2030. 2030! Sounds like a fake year, but it exists. And it's only 4 years away. Actually, only 5 years away. Really, we're coming close to the end of 2024 here. So it's possible, it's very, very possible, that Cal Kestis and Merrin could play a big role in the upcoming Heir to the Empire trilogy, or possible upcoming Heir to the Empire trilogy, because she is a Night Sister. And that connection to Dathomir, being that Cal Kestis and Merrin have both already been there, they're going to be a very useful source or useful characters in the plot when it comes to this, hopefully, Heir to the Empire trilogy. Absolutely. 2030. I know. 2030 sounds like a fake year, honestly. 63 years young, John. 63 years young. Okay. 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 All right, now let's talk about this. Oh, wait, what? This. There we go. So, with the Cal Kestis news, of course, Jedi 3 being the end of the game, hopefully coming out in 2027, then Cal Kestis comes to live action 3-4 years from now. Now you have all the sort of loose ends coming together. This is what the plan has been from the beginning, I hope. Or at least it's been forming as they've gone along. I don't think when they released The Mandalorian Season 1 that this was the plan, to bring Mando to the big screen, to bring all this together in an heir to the Empire type deal. But I think at some point after they found out of the success of Mando Season 1, they knew that they were going to do a Season 2, and they knew that they could do something really special here. So at some point around Mando Season 1 to Mando Season 2, they knew that they were going to do something bigger, something greater in this Mandoverse time period. And now they just start drawing all the lines together. And with Dave Filoni being the goalkeeper or the person who ties everything together, he's going to do that. It's not just characters from the Mandoverse. It's not just Din Djarin, Grogu. It's legacy characters like Luke, Leia, Han, Boba Fett. It's, I guess you could consider Ahsoka as a legacy character, but it's animated characters like Ahsoka, the Rebels crew, Hera, Sabine, Zeb, Ezra, even Thrawn, because he's going to be the heir to the Empire. And you bring in even Legends aspects of the Star Wars universe with the Heir to the Empire trilogy and bringing it into canon in a different way, altering it a little bit, using Night Sisters maybe instead of a Jorah Sabaoth, instead of a Luke Skywalker. You're altering the story a little bit, but you are still giving us an heir to the Empire with Thrawn being the main villain, and that doesn't change. But now you're bringing all this together. From Clone Wars to Rebels to Legends to video games with Cal Kestis and Merrin to live action content to the original trilogy to the prequel trilogy, bringing it all together in a new Mando trilogy. Everything's connected, everything's played together, everything's coming together as it should be. This is what fans hoped for the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy feels disconnected to, like each individual movie in the sequel trilogy feels disconnected from the last. It doesn't have a through line. It's not really connected. Even though Luke, Leia, and Han are in the movies, they don't feel that connected to the old stuff. This Mandoverse trilogy has the possibility to do what the sequel trilogy wasn't able to do, or at least wasn't successful in attempting to do. And that would be pretty awesome. Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. And honestly, it might even help the sequel trilogy. Let's be real. It already has helped the sequel trilogy in the attempt of creating more content in this time period. Yeah. Universal, what's up? I just saw a picture of what? With the pirates and Skeleton Crew. Did you guys see this? First of all, I don't even know who you're saying, so let's copy that. Paste. Who the hell is this? Kanji Club? Oh, Kanji Club? Let's take a look. Huh. Let's read this, shall we? This comes from Inverse. This comes from yesterday. Star Wars brings back the Force Awakens bad guy that you forgot about. I guess I forgot about him. Let's see. Recent Star Wars shows have branched out to new time periods and even eventually different galaxies, like Ahsoka did. And now the franchise is trying a new genre, the family-friendly ensemble adventure. Family-friendly is, I mean, we'll see. But while Skeleton Crew is coming out later this year, we still don't know much about it. That's true. Thankfully, that's finally changed. A new sneak peek at the series reveals the grungy, underbelly of space that the series will focus on. And if you look carefully, you will see hints at a criminal organization that could be at the center of it. Entertainment Weekly recently revealed 2 photos of Skeleton Crew. One shows Jude Law, played by Jude Law, in front of the show's young leads. You know the leads. I don't have to name them all off. While the other portrays a group of warriors armed to the teeth by Gunther. Gunther? I thought it was Gunter. Now we're hearing 2 different things. But led by Gunter, who is Jaleel White in the 2 images, of course. Boom, boom. Those are pirates. Skeleton Crew. All right, we read this. Blah, blah, blah. Vane. Okay. While the rest of the pirates seen in Entertainment Weekly's preview are newcomers, one clue to their origins may be hidden in plain sight. The forearm holsters of Jod's belt and the guns strapped to the wolf-like Brewster's bandolion don't look like typical Star Wars blasters. Their long barrels and curved grips instead resemble flintlock pistols, which we talked about. That's, of course, the Civil War. Like the one kind of used in old duels. Within Star Wars, we last saw this obscure blaster style known as Donderbus in The Force Awakens, where they were used by the Outer Ring crime syndicate called the Kunji Club. Kunji Club? Sure. Oh, the ones that wanted money from Han Solo? Interesting. Skeleton Crew is set in the New Republic era, established by The Mandalorian, placing it right after Return of the Jedi, but right before The Force Awakens. I mean, 20 years before. Perhaps these space pirates are the predecessors of, or at least an influence on, the Kunji Club. Kunji Club? Sure. We're going to go with Kunji Club. So while most of the Mandoverse has been busy foreshadowing Rise of Skywalker's cloning subplot, The Mandalorian, of course, having a bunch of references to Snoke and Palpatine and the cloning stuff, Skeleton Crew has harkened back to some obscure pirates in The Force Awakens and one Mandalorian episode. Vane, that is. These images therefore imply that Skeleton Crew will follow Jude and the young allies as they face up against pirates. Did Jude take the blaster from a pirate, or did he use to be one? Interesting. Are Gorian Shards pirates operating on their own, or does Vane's presence imply that they have some collection to the larger Kunji Club? Star Wars Galaxy, after all, is full of these criminal networks. 2 of them, the Hutt clan, and the Pike syndicates, appear in the Book of Boba Fett alone. But this universe is big, and there's always room for one more, or more than one more. Maybe we are seeing the rise of the Kunji Club, or a tense alliance between them and Gorian Shard's crew. Regardless, expect to see them and Jude Law have some firefights with their wacky-looking weapons, as Skeleton Crew will appear on Disney Plus and 2. All right, this is interesting. Let's take a look at this. Let's see how crazy this theory is, or how possible it is. So the reference here is that the gun that Jude is wielding here, this sort of what looks to be an old pistol, and our Wolfman here, Brutus is also holding there, are similar in look to this. To me, it looks like a stretch. I mean, this is way bigger. That's what she said. I mean, it has a similar design, of course, the hilt like that, or the handle like that, and it has kind of like a bayonet-looking thing there. I don't know. What do we think, chat? Oh, that guy's kind of wielding a very similar blaster back there. Do we think that these pirates have anything to do with this Kunji Club seen in The Force Awakens? Here's the thing. we don't get much of the underworld in the sequel trilogy. So it's possible that the Khajiit Club and all those sort of Maz Kanata's castle type deal, like those things could be reference to in Skeleton Crew and in the Mandoverse, small little references from this universe to that, from this time period to the sequel trilogy time period. So this could be some sort of reference between the Kanji Club and these pirates that stand before us here. I mean, she's wearing a very similar, like, vest here to this guy, in a way. It seems like a bit of a stretch, but you never know. Because in the underworld of Star Wars, most things are connected. There's most likely syndicates or gangs or whatever you want to call them, pirates, groups, crews, that could be connected. It's interesting. It's a fascinating theory. I don't know. What do you think, chat? What do you think? Seems like it's a little bit off, but we'll see. We shall see. I like those small connections because I feel like, especially with Maz Kanata's castle, there's so much going on there, from pod racing flags from Tatooine to Mandalorian references with the Mythosaur to all those people that are in the cantina. There could be some references to that in the Skeleton Crew show. Yeah, no? Yeah, no? Also, fun fact, they both used flintlock and blunt bus, and a blunt bus. That kind of thing had a kick. It may be too much powder. What are you talking about? Oh. Okay. Okay. What about the Garvian Death Gang? Or Groovian Death Gang? They need a story too. Well, they could be involved in all this. Like, this is the only sort of story so far in the Mandoverse that we're getting more of a story into the pirates in the underworld of Star Wars in this current state. The Mandalorian touches upon it in The Mandalorian Season 3, but it's not the main story. Obviously, that's Din and Grogu getting to Mandalore. Even in Mando Season 1, they don't really focus on the pirates at all either. So this show's going to actually focus on the pirates and the underworld. Maybe we'll get some more insight into that. Something like that, you know? Yeah, no? Yeah, Brent, do that. I'll definitely see it in there. Oh, yeah, and if you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Completely free. Bunch of awesome, cool Star Wars people in there, so go join that. Yeah. Yeah. Gunther looks a bit like a B-Tech Saw Gerrera. He honestly looks like the guy from Cloud City. You know what I'm talking about? The RoboCop-looking guy. Because he's got the thing on his ears that wrap around probably the back of his head, like the guy from Cloud City in Empire. But yeah, he's also got like the cyborg-looking thing. He's got a chip in his head. Looks like he has one arm. Looks like his arm got cut off there, and something else is attached to it. Either way, it looks like these pirates are going to be a problem. That's for sure. I mean, we see him in action in the trailer, which is pretty cool, but they'll be a problem for sure. If he says, "Did I do that?" in any sort of way, it would be hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Mod Vanth. That's crazy. Okay. He's wearing an Urkel suit. Well, he's not wearing suspenders, is he? He might be wearing suspenders under that, but I don't know. We don't know. Actually, we do have a little bit of other news that doesn't really have to do with either of the Skeleton Crew or Jedi 3. If you guys want to talk about that, it has to do with the Bad Batch. Don't get your hopes too high. let's just talk about this really quickly, and then we'll go back to our Skeleton Crew news. Is that Urkel? Yes, it is, Chris. Yes, it is. Urkel in the flesh in Star Wars. So let's read this Bad Batch thing here. It's just a little bit of news. So an exclusive. The Bad Batch stars in a new miniseries from Dark Horse Comics. Clone Force 90. Oh, this is a look at them right there. Clone Force 99 has a new mission. Star Wars Newsnet can exclusively reveal that next year the Bad Batch return to the fray in their own comic series from Dark Horse under the Hyperspace Stories banner, set during the Clone Wars. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, The Bad Batch, Ghost Agents, will be a 5-issue miniseries written by Michael Schur and illustrated by Reese Hannigan, sure. And all those other people who did fine work on this, I'm sure, but just I don't pronounce names great, okay? Okay. The series cover art will be provided by... Son of a bitch! Okay, Sorry. All those fine people who worked really hard on this comic, and I appreciate all of them, but you know their names. Yes, Tech is back to life, because this is before he died. And this is the cover of it. Bad Batch, Ghost Agents. You got Hunter, you got Wrecker, you got Tech, you got Crosshair. All of them. This is actually before Echo even comes around, because it's before Clone Wars Season 7. And then this is the description, I guess. The clones of the Bad Batch have been through some intense missions throughout the Clone Wars, and it's said that they have 100% success rate. But this time, they may have met their match. In Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, the Bad Batch Ghost Agents are on a mission to hunt down the mysterious Separatist Ghost Agent who executed a daring heist on Coruscant. The thief trail led Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, and Tech to the seediest corners of the galaxy. Okay. A place where kingpins and thugs threaten the clones' mission and their lives. So, I think everybody who knows Star Wars work, knows my Star Wars work, knows I love the Clone Wars. And the Bad Batch is probably my favorite part of that. They're just so cool and unique. They're like 1980s action heroes dropped into the Clone Wars universe, or Star Wars universe. And I love that. I'm after that look and feel. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just thrilled to bring more Bad Batch stories to life. So these will release, or issue number 1 will release on January 15th of 2025, so in about 4-ish months. And you can pre-order it at your local comic shop or visit darkhorse.com for when they become available. So that's just a little bit of news when it comes to the Bad Batch. Yes, the story's still over. There most likely will not be a season 4 of the Bad Batch, but if you want more of these characters, they will be coming to life on a new mission in comic form. Yeah, in a Dark Horse comic. So there you go. If you're looking forward to more Bad Batch, you can get some. You can get some. I want to get some old Star Wars comics to read. There are old Star Wars comics. They're more on the expensive side because most of them are like mint condition, old, like legendary comics. But I'm sure you could find some, like, cheaper ones out there somewhere. Actually, go look on, what is it called? They have all, like, Marvel Comics released the Star Wars comics, but what is the website called where you can, like, read all comics for a monthly subscription or whatever? I forget. Are they coming out with the new Bad Batch? No, it's just the comics. It's an old story from the Clone Wars. I want to say like Universe or something Universe. I forget. But you can get all the comics online somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me end this poll. And let me start up another one. Speaking of the Bad Batch, actually, this is a good connection, going back to Skeleton Crew. Speaking of the Bad Batch, let me put up a poll in the chat. Do you think Omega will appear in Skeleton Crew. So, when you talk Bad Batch, there's one character in particular that could be coming to live action sometime soon, and that is Omega. So, Omega has only ever existed in the Bad Batch 3 seasons. But season 3 of the Bad Batch ended earlier this year, and it ended in a way that Omega could join the fight in this Mandoverse time period. She joins the rebellion at the end to go join the fight against the Empire. However, she's not in Rebels, and she's not in the original trilogy. But she has a connection on purpose to a character known as Hera Syndulla. Ever heard of her? She just made her first ever live action appearance in Ahsoka season 1 and will most likely reprise that role in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and in Ahsoka season 2. So the connection, or friendship I should say, between Omega and Hera could allow us to see Omega finally make her way to live action. Not only in Ahsoka season 2, but possibly in Skeleton Crew. Now, Omega is one of those characters that would sort of fit the mold of not necessarily pirate, but I'm not going to say no to a pirate. She would be more likely to be working with the New Republic. And we do see 2 New Republic X-Wings come flying in the trailer for Skeleton Crew. So it's possible. It is possible. Marvel Ultimate Comics. Yes, there you go. Marvel Ultimate is where you can get, for a monthly subscription, you can get all the Marvel comics. It is possible that Omega could make her live-action debut in this Skeleton Crew show. Now, yes, we hope and we pray that Cal Kestis will someday make his live-action appearance. And hopefully that happens sometime soon. But if we're being honest, if we're being realistic, it's probably not going to happen in Skeleton Crew. We're probably going to have to wait quite a bit to see Cal Kestis in live action. But Omega, on the other hand, is very likely to make a live action debut in Skeleton Crew. Her character fits the mold of this show. She's not a very well-known character to most normie Star Wars fans, but for the people who are fans of the shows, for people who are fans of the animated stuff, that's the place. Skeleton Crew would be a huge draw. It would bring in so many hardcore Star Wars fans to that show if you brought in Omega. Because where there's Omega, there's always the possibility of seeing an old version of the Bad Batch. And yes, Hondo Ohnaka as well. So if you're seeing Hondo and Omega both in the Skeleton Crew, is that enough to draw the attention of the fandom? The problem becomes normie fans look at characters like Omega, like Hondo, and call them glub shittos. If you don't know what a glub shitto is, it's pretty much just when a hardcore Star Wars fan gets hyped up about a random character that's showing up. It's like Vane being in Skeleton Crew. Vane is a very, very small character in The Mandalorian Season 3. And him showing up in Skeleton Crew is cool, but it's like, who's Vane? If you're a normie fan, you're like, who the hell is Vane? He's a glub shitto. Glub shitto's just really funny. But that's what Omega or Hondo would be like to a more normie fan. Cal Kestis, on the other hand, is more, I feel, known as a character than a Hondo Ohnaka. Or even Ahsoka, or even Hera Syndulla is probably more known than those characters. But I would be awesome. I mean, come on. It would be amazing. Seeing Omega in live action, whew, it'd be awesome. Yeah. Explore the Force, what's up? How we doing? Jimmy Jack, if you guys have not checked it out yet, go check out the awesome interview we did, or awesome podcast we did at Explore the Force. Go check them out. Go check out our awesome podcast we did. We talked about old Luke versus old Logan and taking care of the end of a character's arc. It is so awesome. You got to go check it out and check them out because they're a fun time over there. But what is up, guys? How we doing? Okay. Where was I? Oh, maybe Omega and Wanda Sykes' character? Oh, the pirate Fee. Yes. So Fee is a character who is a pirate in the Bad Batch. Now, Fee would obviously be a lot older by the time of this Skeleton Crew show, but she could technically still be alive. Yeah. And yes, as Damien says, the timelines really do match up pretty well. Omega showing up in this show would be incredible. The possibility of Omega showing up in Skeleton Crew and maybe even Hondo could make it a live-action appearance in this show too. I think Hondo probably has a more likelihood of appearing because his pirate connection, of course, and the very strong likelihood of seeing him connected to all these pirates makes sense. Omega is a little bit more of a stretch, but if you were to bring her in to live action at any point, this would be the time. Yeah. Just looked up Cameron Monaghan. He's going to be in Tron in 2025, so maybe 2027 for Star Wars. I mean, he could obviously do both. You look at Pedro Pascal. He's doing Gladiator 2, Last of Us 2, Mando and Grogu movie, and Fantastic Four. Like, where there's a will, there's a way. So I didn't know Cameron's actually going to be in that Tron movie. That's pretty cool. But he could obviously be doing both. And he is working probably right now, I would hope, on Jedi 3. But we'll see. I don't know if I don't know if we will see Cal's third and final game. Wait, what? I don't know if we will see Cal. Third and final game could mean, his final stand. I don't think so. I think it would be a very dumb decision to take a character so beloved by fans like Cal Kestis and kill him off in his final game. I get the anticipation of him possibly dying in the final game would be really cool, but you don't want to waste a character like that. Not only do you not want to waste a character like that, an actor like that. You have Cameron Monaghan, who loves Star Wars so much, loves this character so much, and wants to come into live action. He's talked about it before. When you have a character like that who wants to come into live action, how are you going to say no? And fans who want to see him come into live action, how are you going to say no to that? You know? Maybe Omega becomes a liberator of lost treasures like Fee was after the Empire. And that could be a pirate connection. Could be. Could be. I actually think it's more likely that she joins the New Republic and she could show up as a New Republic person. Because we see the New Republic X-Wings in the trailer, meaning they're going to play a role in this show. So it'd be cool if Omega was one of the Rangers for the New Republic, just like Zeb Orrelios or just like Carson Teva. It'd be wild if Carson Teva pulled up with Omega in X-Wings. And we get a conversation between Carson Teva, Omega, and Hondo Ohnaka, who's leading these pirates. There's a possibility that this Skeleton Crew show could be extremely, extremely good and coming in completely under the radar, which I'm hoping is the case. Don't want to get my hopes too high, but I'm hoping that's the case. Yeah. Marvel Unlimited, that's what it was. Not Ultimate. It's Unlimited. Yeah. The fandom will be there either way. I think Hondo and Skeleton Crew. Yeah, I mean, the fandom will be at Skeleton Crew. It's more so how well Skeleton Crew will perform. Because yes, you're going to have the hardcore fans who are just going to watch anything Star Wars, like myself. But it's whether or not it's good or really good is how well it's going to do. I think Skeleton Crew has a possibility of getting a second season if it is like really, really good. I hope Jude Law's character is awesome so that we can get more of him. And of course, Neil. Everybody else, I don't care. But those two in particular, I hope we get more of them in the Mandoverse movies or just in a second season. But this show has to draw an audience. Eyes are needed to be watching this show. So you got to draw in that audience. And right now, it doesn't seem like there's a big audience for this show. Just from afar, it doesn't. Numbers online just prove that Skeleton Crew doesn't have the hype behind it that it should have or that it deserves. Yeah. Brutus is a big deal. Yeah, obviously. The werewolf species has been around since A New Hope, or at least was supposed to be around since A New Hope. And it's cool to see one in in action, but we'll see. Damien says, she is Boba's sister. I think that would be a better place for her to show up in the Mandoverse shows. Well, Boba Fett Season 2 isn't happening yet. You can introduce Omega into live action in Skeleton Crew, and then, of course, bring her into other projects. I'm just saying that she is likely to make her debut in Skeleton Crew. Yeah, that connection obviously needs to be played out. Omega and Boba Fett have to be on the same screen at the same time at some point in Star Wars. That has to happen. Boba, Fennec, Cobb Vanth, all those Tatooine dwellers, they're going to be pulled into this story as well. I don't know how, but they will. Somehow Thrawn's going to be a big enough threat that Mando and Grogu are going to need backup. And he's going to go to his friends, which are Boba Fett, Fennec, Cobb Vanth, and the Tatooine dwellers. So it's likely that Boba Fett will be drawn into this fight. Hopefully, Hera Syndulla will also be drawn into the fight. And where there's Hera, there might just be Omega. And then those two characters can meet on screen for the first time ever. It would be awesome. And the question becomes then, who will play live-action Omega? The voice actress for Omega does not look anything like her. So it would likely not be her. I would die to see Tamara Morrison in a blonde wig.
This is where the fun begins.
Just imagine Boba Fett meets Omega, and it's just Boba Fett, Tamara Morrison, meeting himself in a blonde wig. That would be like the greatest scene in all of Star Wars. If we're being real. If we're being real. Tamara Morrison in a blonde wig as Omega. It would be the greatest scene in Star Wars. It might just be. Imagine the memes. Imagine the memes. But in all seriousness, Omega probably should be somebody else. Yeah. Yeah. Just picture it in your head, you know? Tamara Morrison in a blonde wig. You can almost see it. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Could we see the guy that helped Mando in season 2? The name passes me. Helped Mando in season 2. Oh, Bill Burr's character? Yeah, what's his name? Fieldfeld? I forget. But yeah, that would be awesome. To see Bill Burr come back, that would be pretty cool. He does kind of just go off. He's freed man. He could show up in this show. The cool part about Skeleton Crew is the possibilities. Because yes, nobody could show up and the show could be awesome with just Jude Law and these kids and pirates and maybe some references to the underworld and just other pirate organizations. Maybe Hondo Naka, maybe not Hondo Naka. Or it could be absolutely insane and give us Hondo, give us Cal, give us Omega, give us everything, everybody. But yeah. Yeah. Guess we'll just have to wait and find out. I hate waiting. Auntie K says, okay, but we love Ahsoka because of the animation. So is Omega not this generation's Ahsoka? That's a good question. I would say no. For a few reasons. Ahsoka's Anakin Skywalker's apprentice. The Anakin Skywalker. So there's already a big difference there. Omega's in a great show. Bad Batch is a great show. But it doesn't even compare to what Ahsoka is. Omega could be similar to that. Migs Mayfield. That's what it was. Omega could be similar to an Ahsoka type character, but I don't think she'll ever get to the level of Ahsoka. She could play a big role though. She is a fan favorite. When you talk about Bad Batch in arcs that those characters went on, the two most impressive ones and the two best ones are Crosshair, which is one of the greatest arcs in just television ever, and Omega. Omega goes from being a whiny little kid. Yep. To a great character, to a more of a. It's just a good arc. It's a Luke Skywalker arc. It's an Ahsoka arc, kind of, where they start off as being whiny little Uncle Owen to a Jedi Knight. Now Omega, of course, doesn't become a Jedi Knight, but she becomes a fearless leader, and eventually joins the fight with the rebellion. Yeah. Someone who has never watched the Clone Wars and Rebels doesn't even know who Hondo Ohnaka is. They'll miss out on so much. That is true, but you could say the same thing about Ahsoka. If you haven't watched the Clone Wars or Rebels, you don't know who Sabine is, you don't know who Ezra is, you don't know who Thrawn is, you don't know who Hera, Chopper, even Ahsoka is. So there's always that curve of how do we introduce a character like Hondo Ohnaka into live action to fans who've never seen him before? And then how do we also reward the fans who have seen him before, who have spent time with this character, love this character, and do justice to both fans? Because both are Star Wars fans. Both are fans of the franchise. Some are just more casual fans who only watch the live action stuff or only watch the movies. And some are hardcore fans who watch everything and love everything. So you have to please both fans. And Hondo's an interesting enough character where you can do that. Like, you can just have him come in and be like, hey, like, he doesn't have to, you don't really need much backstory for Hondo. Even when he comes in the Clone Wars, you just know him as a pirate. He doesn't have a backstory. So, yeah, he's a great character to just introduce and throw into the fold. Throw into the ring, I should say. I'd put Hondo more than Omega. Yeah, for characters appearing in this show, and we're talking about the big three that I hope appear in this show, and that is Hondo, Omega, and Cal Kestis, that's the order. Hondo is up here for likelihood. Omega is probably around here for likelihood. Cal Kestis is all the way down here, but he's, for me, up here. Like, I want him so badly in live action in this Skeleton Crew show. You have no idea. But, yes, Hondo's the most likely. Omega's less likely, and Cal Kestis is very, very, very unlikely, but we'll see. Harrison says, Bill Burr's character and Cobb Vanth, I think, are possibilities for Mando characters that could appear in an episode or two. Well, Cobb Vanth we last saw at the end of Book of Boba Fett hanging out in a bacta tank at Jabba's palace, or Boba's palace now. So, I don't know if he's leaving Tatooine anytime soon, plus he's still the mayor of Freetown. So I don't know if he'll be joining the fight outside of Tatooine anytime soon, or at least until the Mandoverse. Until Din Djarin, his good friend Din, comes to call for help. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're still getting an Avengers Endgame style movie. Oh, absolutely. I think Dave Filoni's Mando movie, or the third installment, if there is a third installment of this Mandoverse trilogy, will be an Avengers Endgame type level of an event. It'll not only involve like Din and Grogu and Boba Fett and Ahsoka and the Skeleton Crew cast, like all those characters, but it'll have Luke, Leia, and Han, and Chewie, and Lando, and C-3PO, and R2, and just everybody. Imagine a portal scene, but it's world between world portal. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay? Okay. But in all seriousness, it could be something that big, something that cool. Anklet, what's up? Don't worry about it. Appreciate you being here. It's their fault for keeping it such a mystery. Oh, absolutely. They definitely know that they have something up their sleeve with the Skeleton Crew show that will draw attention, because they wouldn't make this show if they knew nobody was going to watch it. It's obvious. So there's something coming our way. It's whether or not they'll reveal it before the show airs, or they'll just let the show itself reveal it. Because if they want people to watch the show on the premiere, and a lot of people to watch the show on the premiere, they're going to have to reveal it early. But if they're just going to want the show to speak for itself, then they'll just let it speak for itself. You know? Yeah, I know. That is weird. Why is this chat not showing up on the screen? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. All right, let me end this poll. Wow, this poll is actually very close. 57% of you think that Omega will appear in Skeleton Crew, while 42% of you don't. That is very, very close. Huh. The more you know. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, how about this for some news? 1 year ago today, Ezra Bridger, Iman Esfandi, made his live-action debut. Now that is some pretty awesome stuff. 1 year ago today, we got episode 6 of Ahsoka, where we got live-action Grand Admiral Thrawn and live-action Ezra Bridger for the first time. We got to hear the Thrawn. And we got to see Peridia for the first time. Dang. Episode 6 of Ahsoka is underrated. That's awesome. That is awesome. Dang. Might have to go rewatch Ahsoka tonight. Might just have to. Oh, wait. No, I gotta go. Has it... Tell me in the chat, without any spoilers, has anybody seen Agatha yet? Chat? Has anybody watched Agatha? Because I've been hearing some mixed stuff. From what I saw about the show, from what I saw with the trailer, it didn't look good, okay? It didn't. I'm going to be completely honest. It looked bad. It looked like we were going to get another Secret Invasion or She-Hulk or something like that. But I was watching everybody review this show, giving it such high praise, and I was like, what's going on here? Like, are they really thinking that the show is good? And then the show came out yesterday. And I've had multiple people that I respect quite a bit tell me that it's actually pretty good. And I was surprised. Very, very surprised. So today, after today's stream, I'm going to go watch it for myself. And we're going to see. Did they just do a horrible job advertising this show? What's going on there? Because clearly they did. I thought this show was going to be trash, and if it's good, then that's a surprise to be sure. That's a surprise to be sure. See, all of you guys right now who've seen it in the chat are saying it's good. And I believe you. I fully believe you, and I expect it to be good when I go watch it later. But they marketed this thing horribly, if that's the case. Yeah. No, it's on Disney Plus. It's a Marvel show. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Beckham, what's up? Yeah. If this show is really good, they marketed it very poorly. That's all I gotta say. Okay. All right. With that, I think we're gonna get on out of here. We've gone for 2 hours already. This is absolutely insane. But I got a lot of watching to do in my off time. But watch out for a short in about an hour at 5 o'clock, as always. And of course, we go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Jesus Christ. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the rest of your lives. And yeah. So watch out for that. Oh, yeah. I teased that What If series starting soon. I'm coming very close to finishing the first script, my final draft of the script, Sigourney. Okay, so I'll show you. I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek right here, shall we? Well, I guess not. Hang on 1 sec. Hang on a second. Is this it? Nope, that ain't it. Hang on. Hang on, chat. There we go. This is the working thumbnail for the What If. I will even give you some more sneak peek into this, chat. This What If is what if Leia, I almost just said Ahsoka, what if Leia made it to Obi-Wan at the beginning of A New Hope? Made it to Obi-Wan on Tatooine at the beginning of A New Hope. What would change? Would Luke Skywalker not be involved in the story at all? How would they defeat the Death Star without Luke Skywalker? And Would Leia become a Jedi? So that's the what if, and it's pretty damn cool if I do say so myself. Yeah. So the script is almost done. I'll probably finish it tonight and then start recording. Hopefully, I'll get it out to you guys by next week at some point. I was planning on this Sunday, but it's looking like I'm not going to be able to do that. So we're cooking up something crazy here. I'm going to start a whole new series on this channel of what ifs. We're going only the best what ifs, and I thought of this one to start first. So, yeah. I'm excited. We're going really hard into this, and I can't wait. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. With that, chat, I'm going to have to get on out of here. Skeleton Crew finally getting some traction, finally getting hyped up, finally getting excited for Skeleton Crew, and I can't wait. Only 2.5-ish months away. I can't wait. I really can't. And I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really, really do. But I am going to have to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. Smash a freaking like on the stream. How many likes do we have? Do I even want to know? 46. We got 50 people there. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. And my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. Huge shout out to Darth Plagueis for the very generous super chat. And Thomas for rejoining as a member. I appreciate it. I really, really do. So, yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Smash a freaking like on the stream on your way out. And, yeah. May the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate every last one of you so much more than you will ever know. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.